Welcome to the Game On podcast. Tonight, Thunderbirds are go. Back-to-back champions. Congratulations. Port Adelaide beat another top four team, but does that put the argument to bed? And the Crows, another honourable defeat, but who stays and who goes? Let's do this. Welcome to the Game On podcast. My name's Pete, and Malcolm, what's your good from the weekend, mate?
Surviving, Pete.
Okay.
Yeah, another interstate trip, so a couple and
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so it's in Melbourne on the weekend. But Friday lunch, we had Adelaide Uni Footy Club and had Andrew Pridham as guest speaker. So it was a privilege to be involved interviewing Andrew. He's a fascinating guy. And then Peter Malinauskas, who was brilliantly, and I can't emphasise that enough, interviewed by Clinton Rule. And look, Mally played for Uni. It was fun. Took it right in the right spirit, and it was, to Clinton's credit, he'd done his homework, and it was a great day.
Absolutely, mate. You're racking up the frequent fly miles. Fortnight ago in Sydney, last week in Melbourne. Where Perth this weekend?
No, that'll do for a while, mate.
The early starts get you there. All right,
yes.
Let's get into Around the Grounds.
Around the Grounds.
All right, on the agenda tonight, we've got the SANFL, the NETBALL we're going to talk about in a little bit more depth, and the Olympics. But let's start off with the AFL. Always a tough test for Adelaide going down to Geelong. What are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, while it's obviously a lot better effort than the week before, and yeah, it's a good honourable loss, but my bit with Adelaide, that is consistently how many times they hit the front in the last quarter and go back into the shell. If Adelaide had kept taking the game on there and kicked a couple more goals, that would have been enough.
Bless you.
Yeah, and that was probably my beef out of that. Yeah, good effort, but. And, yeah, I just think they're not good at finishing. I think there's a lack of belief there, and understandably the players don't really think we're going to win.
Yep.
And I think that then comes out, and that's a twofold period. Like Gold Coast yet again. Yeah, how much that's played above the head.
Yep.
Haven't won interstate for 420 days now.
Yep.
As we know, a lot of sports played above the years.
Yep. All right, let's have a listen to Matty Nixon, what he had to say, and some interesting comments.
If there's a stat that we dominated, it was hit-outs, but we need to be better with our connection on that. How are we making the most of those? Because they end up beating us in ground ball in around those stoppages and taking far too many footies away from there. We set up the game to come in and we have an approach that we want to play it at a certain end of the ground. We didn't do that tonight. We did get some ruck dominance, but we'll go away and work on that. It's one we got some score from stoppage, but we should be getting a lot more footy out of there.
So Matty Nix obviously pointing out the obvious there that they're getting their hands on the ball, but not getting it first and getting it out of the middle. We've talked about this at length. I know your thoughts on this, but I hope Adelaide don't get seduced into thinking that the 5-point loss was a good result by some of the players that probably are in the gun when you think about it.
For mine, ruck's still Adelaide's biggest issue. Has been for 7 years. You know my thoughts. Yeah, I'm pretty adamant.
Does Adelaide go after someone like a Draper? His tap at the end of not only the Adelaide game to Merritt and also the game against Freo just shows you how much a tap ruckman and putting the ball to advantage can be an advantage for the players. But is it a case of Adelaide missing a classy midfielder like a Rankin that may have made a difference?
I think it's a combination. I can certainly assure you that Riley O'Brien not easy to ruck to, and that's enough comment by players and that, because it's just there's no finesse, there's no touch and feel. It's just a hit.
Yep.
Look, he gives 100%, but like Lockie Murphy, enough said. Yep. And with that, if I'd been Adelaide, I would have made 1,000,000 miles an hour play for Lloyd Meek at the start of this year. I said I was open about that, and yeah, I just can't get over it. So you can sit and say, Nix and the coaching, but we're about list management. That yet again, ruck's still a major issue. 7 years since Shaw's Jacobs in the 2017 grand final.
Who's out there? That's the question. Because
Meek was the obvious one for mine in
Yep.
the off season.
Yep.
And look, there's not many. It's not. Look, Goldstein would have improved Adelaide.
Yep.
Um,
Did Adelaide miss a beat with, say, Jordan Sweet?
I
Port
think
Adelaide.
so.
Port Adelaide got the better of that deal.
Definitely. You know, he dominated at VFL level for a fair while. For mine, I would have had him, and Port were going for Soldo, so I think you could have said, "Hey, you come here, your number one ruck spot's up for grabs."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely think Adelaide missed the boat.
He's made the call at Port Adelaide, and it's been
It's
a good
going
one
well.
so far.
No,
Exactly
good on him.
right. Adelaide obviously losing by 5 points there down at Geelong. Where do you see Geelong at the moment? Because just recently, or actually today, the announcement has come through that Hawkins is going to retire. That probably puts one of my questions a little bit later to bed is how do you fit him back in? But that's now been answered.
Yeah.
Where are Geelong? Because they are a proven finals team who, when the going gets tough, they're generally around the mark.
Yeah, look, they're still around. It's so open, so up for grabs. You know, quite incredibly, you've got the team on top of the ladder are arguably the worst team in the competition at the moment. It's quite incredible.
Yep.
It's bizarre. Like, imagine after 4 rounds, Brisbane are 9-4. Like, you wouldn't have backed Brisbane to finish minor premiers with any wallet, and pretty incredible that at the moment, I think they will finish minor premiers.
It's absolutely crazy to think. Let's move on to Port Adelaide. 112-point victory against Sydney. You just led me into that beautifully there, that Sydney are on the nose at the moment and just cannot muster a competitive performance, which is very un-Sydney-like.
Being at the Western Bulldogs game, I thought they were horrendous. And you're just there watching as a neutral, and you probably take things in more when you're not emotionally invested in a game.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it, I'm thinking, if anything that gobbles you up in the AFL footy, it's the pace of the game. And Parker looks like the game's gone past him. Mills has come in and hasn't had
the impact that they had hoped. Yep.
And and at the moment, not even remotely competitive. Like, it was a bizarre scoreline. It was your Div 8 reserves scoreline, which
71 points
to nothing
before you got an even half look from Sydney.
Yeah,
that's the crazy part.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't see results like that these days. Now, all right, as bad as Sydney is, let's give Port Adelaide the credit. I think they were switched on, ready and raring, knowing that they had a great opportunity to back up from beating Carlton the week before, knowing that Sydney are probably only one good game away from actually turning things around a little bit, and they never gave them any breathing room whatsoever.
Oh, and as we've spoken about, their dynamic trio in the midfield, and Drew had a really good game as well. That's dry weather, September, those three, they're a big chance.
Absolutely. All right, now Port Adelaide. We'll stay with Port Adelaide. We'll listen to what Kenny had to say, mate.
I'll remember it, is what I will do. I'll remember the game, and I'll remember it easily, because you just don't normally do that sort of stuff. And in 400 times that I've turned up to the footy, it's probably as good as I've nearly seen. I just think we've been building pretty well, and we've been built around hard work, and when you can hold 1 and 2 on the ladder to, 47 points in 6 quarters, defensively we're no good, is what we've had to live with a fair bit, and we've had to work really hard at that, and credit to Goldie and the team for putting some great defensive effort in over the last little period of time.
So Kenny obviously talking about their defence and how things have changed. Does it coincide with Ratugolea moving out of that back line? Because it sort of looks that way.
They look better balanced. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm sort of alluding to.
Yeah. Oh, look. Yeah.
I mean, we talk about the grand final where Melbourne just blitzed the Bulldogs and played probably perfect football. I think
From
Port Adelaide,
3 goals down.
Yes. Port Adelaide, I think, pretty much will play the perfect 4-quarter game.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Oh, exactly. You kept sort of waiting for Sydney just to come back, and it'll become
an arm wrestle
or a 10 goal or so win. Not Thank goodness it was 7 points short of the magical number of 119.
19,
But
yep.
but no, they were brilliant. And they're as I said, I've always rated Hinkley a lot more than a lot of Port supporters.
Yep.
He's fantastic with his communication with players. Look, you can argue with him not having the headphones on that he's not making the moves tactically, but there's other areas he's very good at.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think they're in with a chance.
Has he almost become the English soccer style manager? Is that...
Yeah, it's not. It's a fair point. And look, David Parkin was that. David Parkin gave a hell of a lot of responsibilities to his assistant coaches and really delegated a lot to the players as well. So, I think Hinkley's doing that. And at the moment, all of a sudden, I think the old comment, the words from Malcolm Blight after Adelaide lost that first showdown against Port and the world had ended, came in, wrote 18 minor rounds to games to go. We're playing a marathon, not a sprint.
Yep.
That says it all.
Longest season we've ever had. It's going to end up at around about 30-odd weeks.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a marathon. Did Sydney show their hand a little bit too early?
I just think not so much show their hand, but you had Goulden and that their disposal. You kept thinking, right, Sydney are going to be just so hard to beat because of their elite kick, and all of a sudden, Goulden's missing targets by miles, where he was lacing guys who were like 2 millimetres apart, and that's just using him as an example.
Yeah.
But
they do have some injuries that upset their balance.
They do, and they had very few injuries early, Sydney. They kept playing virtually the same side.
Yep.
And, now a few injuries. Papley's obviously very important.
So stability is the key in getting your timing right. And we didn't add that as part of Ken's interview, but he did talk about it a little bit later, that they're managing their players that little bit better this time round and they're timing their run.
I don't think Sydney can come back. I think it's only happened once before, a team to lose by 100 points.
They're going to have to create history.
Flag and things like that.
Yep.
You went in thinking that's a really important game for Sydney. They've got to come back. They've got to rebound. First uncompetitive performance the week before against Western Bulldogs. And then they got blown out the Scheisenhauser. So,
psychologically will play a little bit of a big part. All right, you did say there that Sydney are going to have to create some history, losing the way they did with 5 rounds or within 5 rounds to go of the season. It's not so great. Let's talk about a couple of the other games. The Bulldogs getting Melbourne by 51 points. That's impressive. Again, talking about timing and also switch hitting players. Lob going back gives them greater balance.
Far better. It's incredible how much he looks so much better behind the ball. And I can't work out why Adelaide haven't done that with Himmelberg. I would have done that ages ago.
Well, we talked about it about a fortnight ago, but we've also talked about it previously. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, Lob all of a sudden, and Lob and Jones, they look balanced down back. Norton, Ugle-Hagel and Darcy combining up well. West has been dynamic West and
well, he's almost the foil, isn't he, to Ugle-Hagen and
Waitman as well. They look as well balanced as anyone at the moment.
Scary thought. Are Melbourne cooked?
Yes.
Do they put players out to pasture for the remainder of the year because Gawn just doesn't look right, and realistically now you can almost put a line through them?
I reckon they might go one more week.
Okay. Yeah, cool. The Eagles getting up over the Suns. The away curse for the Suns continues. Good for West Coast to get a win. First win for Jared Schofield.
Yeah, look, congrats to him. I did see that game on Friday night. Congratulations to Woodville West Torrens. Trevor Jarrett, Steve Jedge and the boys. I did go and have a look at that, caught up with them, went out with them afterwards.
We'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah, and so I watched that game.
Yep.
There on Friday night.
Yep.
And I thought basically, I think they're home, and then they just, again, didn't made a few errors. It was similar to the Adelaide game.
Mm-hmm.
Just upstairs, just didn't finish the plays. So
realistically, did we see the Suns making the finals? I thought they might have a little bit of a bounce under Dimmer, but he's only had his feet in the chair or his bum in the seat, so to speak, for less than 12 months.
With that list, they should be playing finals.
Are they a little bit like GWS? Can achieve but have underachieved a little bit?
I think so.
Yeah. North Melbourne getting up over Richmond. Richmond have definitely put the cue in the rack. They've got some list decisions to make, and
Well, they have had.
Tasmania coming in sort of fastens those decisions a little bit more, doesn't it?
At least I got one right. Dustin Martin announcing his retirement today. I've said all year that he was going to give it away, and that the Gold Coast wasn't going to happen, and that he was going to retire.
Yep.
So look, congratulations to one of the all-time greats. Same
Well,
thing.
we've lost two of the all-time greats today in Dustin Martin and Hawkins.
Yeah, but hey, three-time Norm Smith winner, the only player in history to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mr. September in a lot of ways. You know, like the dominator for Carlton. You know, Kevin Bartlett. Except Royce Hart, the guys who just dominate. Andrew McLeod dominate when it counted.
Yep.
Dustin's up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably one of the games that are around, not so much for me, but Collingwood getting up over Carlton by 3 points just to keep their season alive for one more week.
Yeah, and for a guy who's a beautiful kick, he was the player. I reckon if you ask most Carlton supporters, he's the player that you have been very happy to have the ball in the hands to have a kick for goal after the siren.
Well, he did get a knock, which some people say, did that affect him, not affect him, should have been called not, but he took the shot.
He decided to take the kick.
The onus was on him.
Yeah.
If he stays, miss by that much, though.
If he stays down holding his head, someone else takes the kick.
Yep.
Now, but he's normally a beautiful kick. And, he shanked it completely. It wasn't even, he didn't just miss. He kicked it in the Rod Laver arena.
Yeah. Pendlebury obviously getting a win in his 400th. I think that was probably the biggest story of the day, that not only playing 400 games, but getting the win. A great servant, not only for football, but for the Collingwood football.
So consistent. We all hear about his basketball things every week, but look, he's one of the all-time greats. Yep. His poise and balance, his ability to make time stand still, he's up there with anyone.
And as I
In
mentioned
fact, I reckon he's probably number one in that regard.
As I mentioned last week, 17 other clubs would have loved to have had him on the list, that's for sure.
Yep.
Another in the lead up, obviously, with 3 or 4 rounds to go, some of these matches are becoming very vital. The Giants coming back from 28 points down at three-quarter time to beat the Hawks.
That was staggering. It really looked Hawthorn were home. And then Hawthorn got a free kick because no DWS player was in the goal square for the start. For goodness sake. While you might disagree, it's a rule, just bloody obey it. And to give away a free, which Hawthorn got the goal, to go 3 goals up at the 19-minute mark, you're thinking that's enough.
Yes.
And,
Kingsley's made some vital moves at various stages this year. His move with Tom Green and Toby Green and Hogan, that mix swinging through the middle and through the forward lines.
Geez, Hogan's hands.
Yeah, sticky as, isn't it?
Elite again.
Yep.
It's funny, it's his 3rd club and promising at Melbourne, did very little at Freo, and now has just come alive with his best season ever. And you say huge chance for Coleman and surely all Australian.
Well,
so he's had a great year.
We did talk last week about potential players that have played at 3 different clubs.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of research. I didn't go back as far as I probably could have, but I only found Stengel as one.
Yep.
Now, Treloar and Hogan in the same year could potentially be 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So,
and they both should make it, you would think.
Yeah. I think Hogan at full forward and Treloar,
he's had a great
not
year.
on the ground, but on the bench.
Oh, he's had a fantastic
and
year.
Celebrating his 250th on the weekend. He just looks free at the moment. Like he's playing with,
running
I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah. His disposal seems to be a bit cleaner and a bit...
And that was his knock at Collingwood.
He's not seemed to rush the kick. He seemed to be balancing more and using the footy far better. So, yeah.
Unbelievable. And then huge ramifications in the next game, Essendon getting up over the Dockers by a point.
Well, I was on the bus, on the Sky bus, back to the airport.
Yes.
Clicked on, Amos has kicked a goal. You're thinking, right, that's game over. Didn't worry about it for a few minutes and clicked back on, and all of a sudden Essendon were a point up and then won. Yeah, incredible result. Interestingly enough, on the train back with a few Freo supporters, and geez, they were flat.
Yep.
One very interesting point, Pete. We always say footy, we're pretty good at celebrating or commiserating on the football.
Mm-hmm.
The plane was packed. The 6:15 plane was packed Sunday morning. Very, very quiet. And oh my God, were there some seedy Vixen supporters after the netball on the plane?
Yeah, fair call.
They'd given it a fair decent nudge. Trust me.
Well, Pete Malinowskis would be pretty happy with the tourism dollars being spent here in Adelaide for the grand final.
Geez, that group, I reckon, might have helped balance the budget just by themselves.
Fair call. Essendon really needed a win. If they'd lost, they would have torn the place apart. The Dockers, where are you with the Dockers? Because a couple of teams, who do we trust? Do we trust the Dockers?
Not away again. It's so much this away bit, and that loss is realistically going to probably cost them a top 4 spot.
Yep.
They've got a pretty hard run from here, Freo. Geelong this week's a huge game. It is in Perth.
Yes.
So,
you sort of back them to be favourites, but
it's a massive game.
And to finish us off, the Lions, 9 in a row, getting up over the St Kilda Saints by 85 points.
Yeah.
They're just humming along very nicely, and you brought it up at the top of the show that who would have thought at round 4 they'd actually be potentially a chance to win the minor premiership.
Staggering. It is, as KG would say, strike me pink. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to some hot topics, mate. The grand final time has been confirmed. It will be staying at 2:30.
Yeah, I think that's great. The grand final barbecues out and about. You're either at the pub or you're at someone's house at a barbecue. For me, the grand final when they played it at night, watched that at home by myself, and it just wasn't the same. Yes, I could have gone somewhere, but nah.
So twilight, no.
Personally, I'm a day grand final fan, but
anyway, it is what it is. It's an event. Yep. And really, the earlier you start it, the longer it goes. So that may be where it goes. All right, Nathan Buckley was sounded out by West Coast, but has said not quite ready to put his feet under the desk as a head coach.
I don't think it's a plum job. I reckon the prospective people are looking at that West Coast list and going, you think Buckley's going, right, I've got one more chance. That's it. I'm basically on a hide into nothing for probably 3 years. Mm-hmm. I'm relying on very good drafting, etc., to build this up because this list is still a bottom 4 list for the next 3 to 4 years. I reckon that's what the prospective, or Dean, like Dean Cox may have just decided, I like life in Sydney. I'm okay as assistant coach.
Yep.
Don't want the stress as the head role. And I'm not bagging anyone for that.
Is it coincidence that when Simpson got sacked, questions obviously got asked of Cox, and then all of a sudden Sydney have gone downhill? Is it just coincidence?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, fair call. Basically, every team at the moment is in it with a chance still to make the finals this year. Is it a case of that we're being what's the word I'm looking for?
I think it's very extremely even. The draft is achieving what the AFL wanted, and so teams are in with a shot. It's very, like you're thinking selling membership next year. You're only looking at really probably 3 or 4 clubs who you're going to go Richmond, West Coast, North Melbourne.
Yep.
All very unlikely.
Yep.
And any other club from there can sell it a fair bit,
But are we being hoodwinked? That's probably the word I was looking for, as to some of the other issues that are going on within the AFL because it is so close and everyone's concentrating on the competition, like the umpiring, the draft situation. The next topic we're going to talk about is the wild card weekend. Is that going to be something that becomes more and more prevalent as the finals come about?
I'd love to have as much chance of winning Cross Lotto as the wild card round will be confirmed for next year just before the finals.
Yep.
I'm prepared to put plenty on that happening.
All right. Gamble responsibly, of course.
Yeah, that may be from pretty good mail.
Yeah, no, fair call. Yeah. And I agree with you. I think it's about time, and it probably shows that bye week does not work. Not only extends the season, but it stops everything when there's nothing on.
And I just think too, with the concussion rule, if someone gets concussed in the prelim final and they're then forced to miss the grand final, which happened to Chelsea Randall. Now, if that was AFL, that would have got so much more publicity than what it did because it was AFLW. It just got, well, sort of thing. Where when it happens, I think there'll be hell to pay. And then that gap. And I still think you have the Brownlow on the Monday night. Mm-hmm. All the players can do it. It can be done far better with that gap. There's enough things you can have in your Australia. You can really make that a festival of footy week as it is.
Yes.
And have virtually an event every night.
Yep.
And considering the broadcasting dollars is what pays for the game, I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
Well, speaking about broadcasting deals there, that the new AFL broadcasting deal comes into effect as of next year. It means there'll be no live-to-air or free-to-air on Saturday afternoons in most regions.
It was always going to happen, and it's just gradually happening more and more. Now, you either go to a pub to watch it, or you get KO. That's what they're virtually telling you. Now, it's not whether we like it or not. What the money in the game, and it's not a game, they're multi-million-dollar corporations. They're not real footy clubs.
Well, it's an entertainment industry.
Yeah, but if you want a footy club, go to Payneham, go to Rosewater, Tea Tree Gully, Adelaide Uni, etc. They're footy clubs.
Yep.
Where AFL, they're not. And you're just member number 7683. Like, you're a Carlton man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's just it's totally different.
Yeah.
And the obscene money, and players are going to be on over $1 million a year, and you've got the average player now is on 400. Like, it's huge. So it's crazy.
Question without notice, obviously, Tasmania coming in 2028-ish. There seems to be a real pushback from clubs at the moment for, that 19 by round scenario. How soon after Tasmania comes in does the 20th team come in? Because I'm a big proponent of actually pulling it back to 18 teams. 16 would probably be the ideal number, but 18 teams is probably more realistic. How soon do you think after Tasmania coming in do we get the 20th team?
I think it's going to depend on where clubs' financial are at. I think the AFL are going to look at that and go, right, can we afford to keep propping up clubs? And also on the whole broadcasting deal, you've got to remember what Fox are paying is actually worth technically more than what Fox is worth.
Yep.
Now,
they've gone all in.
Yeah, but if Fox, or Channel 7 fall away and the game's stuffed. Like, you're putting massive amount of eggs in one basket. And it's pretty crazy, really.
So that sort of gets to where I was sort of going
with
it, is it a case of better quality of product but maybe one less game, as in keeping it at 18 teams or even 16 teams?
I think it'll just...
where the quality will be better and then spread out a little bit more?
That's what we like, but I don't think the AFL think in that way.
Yeah.
I think it'll purely be a financial decision. They'll sit and go, right, with that. But then... as I said, if something goes belly up,
it leaves us in a very precarious position.
Maybe I'm being pretty careful on what I'm saying.
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but it's a case of quality over quantity, and we all want to see more football. Don't get me wrong, I want to see as much football as possible, but is it a case of we are diluting the product a little bit? That's what I'm probably alluding to more than anything. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. All right. Retro Guernseys back on the agenda. Are you a fan? Yes or no? And clubs should be doing it, or should it be a dedicated round?
Oh, I don't mind it. I don't think it's anything at hand. Look,
because the obvious argument that comes about every year that we talk about retro round is Port Adelaide's Prison Bar or Dock Guernseys.
Yeah, I'm sick of that argument.
If they're only using it once a year against Adelaide, then
I don't think it's a big deal.
It.
On term of a dedicated round, Rick Neagle and Tom Harley had a fair bit to do with the AFL at trying to get a disability round up and running. Now, how that didn't get up and get passed, which for mine should have been a no-brainer, is mystifying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the AFL have got a lot on their plate at the moment. That's probably not one that.
But
it's a simple thing, though.
Of rounds which got passed compared to that not being passed is inexplicable, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we do have 24-round season, so you surely could fit it in somewhere. Anyway, Essendon do not have, or the only club not to have a player ranked in the elite in the Champions data stats. Is this a concern for them?
Probably it's an interesting one. It's probably more so the lack of consistency of it, like a Jake Stringer. I admit I'm probably a little bit mystified how Merritt's not ranked elite is probably the surprise there. Look, Mackay's helped them defensively and added there overall, even though he has some.
Well, he's had some clangers
and fades.
Yep.
Stats are so much you can go. Like people try to defend we've already spoken about Riley O'Brien and the number of rackets he get, but so few go to a decent, proper advantage. And I disagree with the way the stats are kept. If a ruckman gets the tap and you just get it to you and you boot the ball forward, Adelaide push their half forward up. It goes to a half back.
Yep.
And now that's counted as a ruck tap to advantage. Where it's bullshit. No, it's not.
Yep.
It's coming back the other way and with far more precision.
Yep.
It's crap.
Yep. All right, let's get on to round 22. We're getting to the business end now, mate. Let's run through these tips pretty quickly. Sydney v Collingwood.
Can't tip Sydney at the moment. Collingwood
keeps them alive, doesn't it? I think Sydney are going to respond. I think they're going to have to.
We're waiting for that for
we have,
this week.
Yeah. The Lions v the Giants. This one is tantalising.
In Brisbane.
Is that the Gabba? Yep.
Yeah, I'll go the Lions.
Yep. North Melbourne v the Eagles. Down at Blundstone
I'll
Arena.
Go North Melbourne.
North Melbourne as well for me. The Dockers v the Cats. You did mention this is
I'll go the Dockers because it's in Perth.
Yep. Essendon v the Suns.
Essendon. Is
that Marvel?
Yeah, I'll go Essendon. You can't tip. As soon as Gold Coast head to the airport, you can't tip them.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to go against the trend here. Now that the shackles are off, they're not going to make the finals. They're going to win. So I agree. It's hard to tip them. Melbourne v Port Adelaide.
Port Adelaide.
Port Adelaide for me. Richmond v St Kilda at Marvel.
I'll go St Kilda.
I'll go St Kilda there as well. Adelaide v the Bulldogs.
Bulldogs.
And to finish us off, Carlton v Hawthorn. Now we're going to play a little bit of a flashback to a game back in 2009 a little bit later on the episode. But who's your tip in this one, mate?
If Hawthorn for mine are now very unlikely, I'll go Carlton. But it's a toss the coin. Yep. If Hawthorn had held on, I reckon they make the 8 from that game.
They dropped one last week that probably would have guaranteed them an top 8 spot. But Carlton have only got a couple of little things to tinker with to get it right. And again, it's about timing, and I think they're just timing.
Fine line between pleasure and pain from those couple of games on the weekend.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Coming up after the break, we've got the SANFL wheelchair grand final. Congratulations there to Woodville West Torrens. We're going to talk a little bit more about the netball and the tennis Australia with doubles glory.
You're listening to the Game On Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
A dents and scratches putting a dent in your day? Introducing Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide, your trusted solution for automotive woes. With over 2 decades of expertise, Roger Steen Crash Repairs guarantees top-notch service, restoring your vehicle to its former glory in no time. From minor dings to major collisions, our skilled technicians handle it all with precision and care, using state-of-the-art equipment and techniques.
Roger Steen Crash Repairs saved my car. It looks brand new.
Fast, friendly and reliable. I wouldn't trust anyone else with my vehicle. Don't let accidents slow you down. Visit Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide at 14 Penner Avenue, Glynde for quality service you can count on. And here's a special offer just for our listeners. Mention this podcast and receive a $100 discount on your repair. Roger Steen Crash Repairs Adelaide. Excellence in every repair.
And we thank Roger Steen. And look, anyone out there, if you know of anyone who has a prang, please point them in the way of Roger Steen Crash Repairs. It would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the SANFL. Let's kick off with the grand final of the Wheelchair League. Woodville West Torrens played Nord in the grand final, and Woodville West Torrens taking home their maiden premiership.
Yeah, congratulations to Trevor Jarrett, David Kuzner, Christine Williams and the West Torrens crew. They were easily the best side. They won all year. Probably the most united of those groups, I think, was pretty important as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well done to Steve Edge. And, look, to go out with them afterwards for a while, I admit I left pretty – I didn't stay that long.
Yeah,
I think there's still a few still out, actually.
Yep.
May have got a message from one of them this morning. The best side. Hopefully it grows though. Like it's been 4 teams and it desperately needs some more teams in the competition.
Yep. Is it a case of the SANFL could just tweak it a little bit to get a few more teams involved?
Well, there was rumours of a couple more last year. There's rumours of a couple more this year. Wait and see, but I just hope it happens.
Well, congratulations obviously go there to the Woodville West Torrens Football Club, whole club as well. I did see some footage. I would have loved to have got there myself, and it's probably a goal of mine over the next 12 months to get to a couple more games. In that it looked like there was a whole club buy-in for the grand final, which is great.
Very much so. And look, there's no doubt whatsoever Woodville West Torrens have done that easily the best of the clubs there with a buy-in. I will say Sturt as well had the last few years, they had a fair few of their players there as well, but Woodville West Torrens, certainly the majority of the league playing group were there. So congrats to them.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the SANFL. We're back after a week, a bye for everybody in the week, so round 17. We've obviously got no games to review from last week, but round 17 games, Nord v the Panthers.
Yeah, I'll go for Nord to rebound.
Nord with the week off just gives them that little bit more stability with getting a few players back from injury.
Not quite as many as we hoped, I may
add. Matty Panos is probably a name that hasn't been mentioned too much because he got injured early on in the season. Do we see him coming back towards the back end of the season?
Hopefully.
I know we're close to the back end of the season, but a few more rounds, maybe a reserves game here or there.
Let's wait and see.
Fingers crossed. All right, let's move on. North Adelaide taking on Glenelg.
Yeah, I'll go Glenelg. Glenelg were pretty impressive against Nord a couple of weeks ago. McBean dominated.
We're talking about the AFL with their timing and run. I think Glenelg are in that boat now, aren't they?
Yep, they're going to finish top. For mine, that game last week means they'll finish top 3, and I still think they're probably the team to beat.
Yep, fair enough. Sturt v Centrals. This one here has some interest.
Game, but I'll go Sturt.
I'll go Sturt as well. That one's at Thomas Farms Oval there, or Only Oval, so get on down there. West Adelaide taking on Adelaide.
Yeah, curtain raiser to the Crows on Saturday night.
Sunday?
No, Sunday, sorry. Yep, apologies.
Yep.
I'll go Adelaide.
I'll go Adelaide there as well. Port Adelaide taking on Woodville West Torrens.
At Alberton on Sunday, I'd like to see Port's AFL to see how many players they get left over. At this stage, I'll go Woodville West Torrens, but I reckon that's a Port are in with a chance depending on how many players they have from AFL listed.
That's really where it gets down to Adelaide and Port Adelaide at the moment, but I see Adelaide winning, but I see Port Adelaide probably just getting the chocolates there. Geez, if Adelaide win and the Roosters lose and Woodville West Torrens obviously losing to Port Adelaide, that means Adelaide probably are going to take that 5th spot.
Yeah, and I think they're dangerous if they make it.
Yep.
Depending how much they want to, too, by the way.
Absolutely. All right.
As a club, I'm referring in that way.
Yep. Let's move on. Huge performance in the netball. We led with it. Thunderbirds are go. Congratulations, obviously, winning on back-to-back. They didn't have it all their own way, though.
No, it was a lot more fought. Like the second semi, the game was over a little bit like the Port Sydney game. Game was over pretty early, but this one was more of an arm wrestle.
And the tactic from the Vixens was to the longer shots, the extra points to try and counteract that. And I thought it worked quite well.
It did. And so good on that the Vixen tried something. They just didn't go right with the same plan. Right, that game plan didn't work. We're going to try something different. So good on them. And, yeah, very nearly got the chocolates. And that's where the 2-point play in netball, I think, is a great
innovation.
Innovation for the game.
Yep, absolutely. Huge win, obviously, 59-57. Can they make it 3 in a row?
Oh, huge chance, because I don't think they'll lose too many again. They seem pretty united. Young South Australian talent coming through. We will follow that up. Really, I'm probably more personally, I'd like to know what people involved in netball think the flow-on effect will be for the game now here overall.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll chase that up this week.
New stadium looks like it's going to be built with obviously all the amenities, and 28 million is going to be spent down at Keswick, I think it is. That they're putting themselves in a good position to become a dominant force in not only South Australian sport, but obviously Australian sport in the netball side of things.
And maybe netball making a sort of like fighting footy for players are probably going back the other way, where they'd lost a lot. I think they might be getting them back. So,
with the seasons being where they are with the football, does it allow them maybe to play both?
It does. I'm probably referring overall. I wasn't saying, I was just meaning numbers overall, and I think the amount of ACLs in footy that a lot of the girls now are going, it's a bit of a worry, and that sort of things.
Yep. So. Anyway, congratulations, obviously, there go to the Thunderbirds.
Tanya Obst, and the coaching panel there. Great result, fantastic result for South Australia, and we will follow that, as I said, for the domino effects, more my interest in that way.
The Giants obviously winning back-to-back in the baseball. Now the Thunderbirds in the... We need another team to get there, that's for sure. So congratulations go there. All right, let's go to the Olympics. First up, gold for the Australians in the tennis, in the doubles. Maddie Ebden and Piers getting the job done against the USA in the semis and in the final. Entertaining game.
It was, and I think look, a lot of us aren't fans of... I'm not a fan of any sport being in the Olympics where it's not their major event. So you've already got the 4 majors in golf and tennis. I just, for mine, they just shouldn't be in it.
Yep. But
it was great to see like a journeyman in Maddie Ebden, not the household name, getting up, and that will be the highlight of his tennis career. Mm-hmm. So for me, that was great that it wasn't.
Well,
Novak Djokovic winning a gold medal in tennis. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that one in a second. Maddie Ebden's had an unbelievable year, reaching basically number 1 in the doubles he's played with. I think the statistic was 12 different partners this year, and he still remained on top of the of the was, and now he's got an Olympic gold to add to it.
But I think for him, like, doubles is the speciality. More on the thing that he's not a name which smacks.
Yep.
You know, it's not a name in tennis which goes whack and hits you between the eyes.
Yep.
And you could see that how much that meant to him. That's probably what I'm trying to go for.
No, that's all right. Jess Fox will stick with the Olympics. Jess Fox adds another medal to a haul at the Olympics. The family has
incredible,
got
fantastic.
More golds than a couple of countries at the moment.
Yeah, and it was quite amusing where Jess added, after her sister Naomi winning, that Dad Richard in the commentary box is the only one without an Olympic medal now. And, but it was... And jumping in the water, and I thought just the general emotion. And look, let's remember she got knocked out in that event by her sister.
Yes,
so, a bit unlucky to draw her sister so early.
Absolutely.
Obviously very close and great result for Australia.
We're sitting currently 3rd on the table or 4th on the table at the moment.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we've had an unbelievable Olympics. I'm not sure, because of the time difference, how many people are actually tuning in and how much you're investing in it, because I'm a bit in and out at the moment. I'm not as invested as I normally would be.
Yeah, and I'm the same. Look, I'm probably a bit of a lunatic that I've followed it at 4 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. Not the greatest sleeper in the world, and so I've listened and a fair few of those gold medals in the morning. Maybe the other half wasn't overly happy with my reaction when we won 3 gold medals in about 15 minutes.
Jumping around,
it is hard with the time difference. There's no doubt about that.
Just going back briefly on the tennis, you did mention Novak Djokovic obviously winning gold medals. The players also to complete the Golden Grand Slam or the Golden Slam over their career, not in 1 year. There's only been one player, I think, who's done that, and that's Laver. in that Djokovic joined Serena Williams, Rafael Nadal, Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf as Golden Grand Slam winners. He does rank up there now with one of the best, and I did watch...
look, there's no doubt that he's one of the greatest tennis players of all time. Look, him as a person, whatever, you can have your own thoughts there, but purely as a tennis player, he is one of the all-time greats.
I did watch the Federer documentary, actually, over the weekend on Amazon, I think it was, or Prime, or one of those streaming services. Unbelievable, Federer, and just taking him through the last 12 days of his career. And, geez, he's so inclusive. And I hope that he did say, I don't want to be lost to tennis like a Bjorn Borg, where he just walked away altogether. I hope that he starts getting involved a little bit more now that he's had time to breathe.
Yeah. Let's wait and see.
We'll stick with the Olympics. One last question to get you out of here. The swimming masterclass by the Australians. We've got our mojo back in the pool.
On the female side, the females have carried Australia this Olympics. Let's be right there. So probably it'd be great, although we had the Australian obviously winning the 50 metre, the freestyle in the men, but overall it's been the female side of things.
Yep.
Look, we compete outside our weight in terms of population and all that. Australia does fantastically. It was amusing when Australia were in front of the USA for so long in swimming that USA were going to do an investigation into Australia being in front of them, like, for goodness sake.
Yep.
So,
finishing us off on swimming, Cole Chalmers' comments after finishing second in his race by quite a length seems to have stirred up a bit of a reaction. What are your thoughts, mate?
Oh, look, I think it's probably my interesting part of the swimming is how much longer careers are going now, because it's a sport which, let's be honest, it can't be the most exciting sport to train for, but swimmers are keeping going, and I loved it when Kyle said, right, I'm going to continue on and try for another Olympics. So good luck to him.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, let's just take a little bit of a quick break, but coming up, our past players, past legends this Friday, Chris Thedgold, part 2. And on Monday, we've got Daryl Wakelin in our Encore special, part 2 as well. So tune in to those.
You're listening to the Game On Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
Looking to buy or sell your home anywhere in Adelaide, from the hills to the sea? Meet Gary Creeves, your dedicated local agent from Owens Casserly Real Estate. With unparalleled knowledge of Adelaide's housing market and a commitment to exceptional service, Gary ensures a smooth and stress-free experience for all your real estate needs. Trust the expert, trust Gary Creeves at Owens Casserly Real Estate. Your next dream home awaits. Contact Gary today on 0422 071 317 or on email garyk@ocre.com.au. And for more listings, please visit owenscasserly.com.au. Make it happen.
Flashbacks.
All right, mate, today we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of happy days leading up to the AFL finals, we're going to take a look at some classic matches over the journey for a couple of key matchups. And today we've got Hawthorn taking on Carlton at the MCG in round 6, 2009. Star forwards Brendan Favola and Jared Ruffhead kick 8 goals each in an incredible thriller between Hawthorn and Carlton back in 2009. Favola had the opportunity to win the game late, but dramatically hit the post.
Yeah, you would have lost plenty on that. Beautiful kick, Fev, and just didn't quite kick through it as much as normal. You're probably still waiting for the umpire to pay the 50 against Buddy there. That was a pretty inexplicable decision not to pay it. But Favola had the shot after that.
Yes.
Should have been 50.
Yes.
But geez, some household names there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've got, for Carlton, you've got Favola, Betts, Gibbs, Judd. Scotland, for Hawthorn, you've got Franklin, Ruffhead, Hodge, Mitchell, Dew, Rioli. And coaches, Alistair Clarkson and Brett Ratton. I mean, Carlton probably should have done a little bit better than what they did during that period, but Hawthorn were up and about.
Yep. Also, Carlton unlucky that final in Perth. Still waiting. There should have been a free kick to Carlton in the goal square area in the last couple of minutes, in the last minute, where the hometown sort of decision got them home there. Non-decision. So, a little unlucky. But, look, it's a great game. Some great, even that last 2 minutes, there's some pretty incredible footy play.
All right, let's sit back and relax and enjoy the last 2 minutes.
Scotland, critical fumble. He's got it now. Finds Gibbs. Got numbers around the contest. Kick towards half forward. That's where Hawthorn have got the numbers, but they muddle it up. Chance here for the Blues. Chance for Carazzo. He's well tackled. Hands it up. Sewell off to Mitchell. Renouf, Dew, and now Osborne. Hawthorn with an opportunity. High and long towards half forward. Rioli wasn't watching the footy. Joseph was held. Should get a free kick and does at half back for Carlton.
It's got to be 50. That's got to be 50.
It has to be 50, Rob.
That has to be 50 against Franklin. I don't think the umpire's going to have the courage to pay.
Well, he hasn't. How can that be?
No, Chris, there's no doubt Buddy heard that call from the umpire.
Of course he did.
Of course he did, and the umpire wasn't strong enough to apply the rules as they should have been applied.
Chance for Simpson. He kicks into the corridor. Chance for Armfield. He played on, but he slipped the tackle. Armfield, last roll of the dice here for the Blues. Favola's run out. Favola! It's Martin! Unbelievable. He's never kicked 9 goals. Armfield slipped the tackle. What a mark, Rob.
Armfield was terrific. He took the hits. He just kept going.
Did he push off there, by the way? Let's not worry about that. Here he is to win the game for the Blues. He kicks a goal. No, he's missed it.
Hit the post.
I don't think I've heard a bigger roar at the MCG than that. Hawthorn by 4 points. The moment has passed for the Blues. The Hawks should hang on now. Just seconds left, you would think. They'd need to make a calamitous error to let the Blues in. First season player, Brendan Whitecross. Play on call. Carlton have got to put him under pressure. Favola comes at him, but Whitecross gets out of it. Goes for distance. Franklin there. Bauer the spoil. Mitchell the crumb. Can Carlton make a steal? Buddy got it. Now Osborne. Backpedaling. Carlton pressing, but just cannot win the ball back. Franklin finessing. Worked around to Mitchell, who just kicks in hope. Rioli with brilliant skills. Brilliant Rioli. Hawthorn should hang on from here. It's a lovely kick, and Williams takes the mark.
Siren went.
It's all over. Brendan Favola can only ponder the one that...
All right, some classic moments there, and do we mount a case for this weekend being another classic?
Could well be.
Coming up next week, we have the ultimate flashback in the Crows and the Port Adelaide with Showdown Week coming up, so looking forward to that. All right, let's scoot into the extra time big finish.
Extra time, big finish.
All right, let's kick off with cricket. Sad to hear the passing of Graham Thorpe.
Yeah, tragic. Battled a fair few mental demons over time. Look, pretty hard to comment any more than that. And just thoughts out to family, etc. there.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, let's stick with cricket. Matthew Mott has been removed from England's limited overs men's cricket after 2 years of coaching in charge. Is that a surprise?
No, they hadn't quite
clicked and
nailed
gel.
it. Yeah, no, I think that was predictable.
Yep. Do we see him finding another job back here in Australia?
Oh, he'll be around the traps.
Yep. How did Cricket Australia fit in the test indoors once the Tasmanian Stadium is completed, and who will potentially be their opposition?
think it's impossible to predict because it's going to depend on the 2020 circus around the world. Who knows what the agreement's there?
Mhm.
Who knows how much more control India will have of the game overall?
Yep.
I think that one is actually impossible to predict, Pete.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that, but
Yeah.
it was just a thought that
No, I don't mind
came across.
I think it's a possibility, but I just think there's so many other things to happen in cricket at the moment.
Yep.
Trying to get the big three, and especially India, to
Get on the same page.
and actually realise they've got to support the other countries. Yeah.
All right, let's move on. The basketball during the Olympics. The Boomers make it through to the finals after a rough group stage, just scraping through, and now have to play Serbia.
Yeah, probably just they look like you'd think Serbia will just be too good there and go out at that stage. And look,
Well, if I think they win, I think they go on to play America, so the US. So
it's the same.
Doesn't get
It's the same in the women's side of
doesn't
things.
get any easier, does it?
Yeah, the women losing to Nigeria is probably going to come back to bite them on the bum, you suspect.
Yep. They did make it through, obviously, to
Yeah.
the finals as well. But, it's going to be interesting. All right, let's...
Probably the other one, though, the hockey. You know, hockey yet again. Hockey bombed out in both in the quarters.
Yep.
It's a bitterly disappointing result. I'd say that's probably Australia's most disappointing result, that hockey were a traditional power and the women looked to be the best side by a mile in the round robin series, and then lost 3-2, had a lot of the play against China and managed to miss by millimetres on several occasions. And, it was certainly the one which got away.
Yep.
And,
It's probably the one sport that we're kicking ourselves a little bit at the moment with when it comes to just not quite getting the job done.
And remembering Olympics is just every 4 years. So it's such a huge turnover as well. For a lot of those players, that's their one chance.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's quickly talk the NRL. The Storm sitting first, Panthers second, Roosters third, Sharks fourth, Bulldogs fifth, Cowboys sixth, the Seagulls seventh, and the Dragons eighth. Dolphins, Raiders, and Titans all banging on the door of the top eight there. So we might cover that one in a little bit more depth.
Yeah, it's probably spots up for grabs, similar to AFL, that it's pretty close and tight. Incredible that the Storm continue to be around the mark every year. Remarkable, really.
It is, absolutely. All right, let's move on to soccer. The Matildas have parted ways with their coach mutually.
Yeah.
But this almost happened at the World Cup in Australia.
It did.
So
it's been a few things smouldering there for a while.
And the bloodletting has begun.
Yeah. I think you're right. We've just got to wait and see the potential long-term ramifications.
Well, will it derail Football Australia's growth in the short term?
Possibly. It's
because it's the one thing they probably haven't got right is that they get all this participation, but getting them to that next step.
Level.
Yep.
Yeah. Just got to wait and see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more locally. Adelaide United scraped through against Blacktown 3-2.
Yeah, scrapes through is correct, but they stay alive and they've got a good record in this tournament, Adelaide United. So at least they're still around. So
and they're starting to get some players coming
hopefully.
back. Exactly right. And the biggest shock from the tournament is Sydney FC getting knocked out by the Oakley Cannons.
Go you Cannons, yeah. They did blast off. So
I saw some of the highlights of this game, and hardly any spectators there behind the goals and around the place. But they went absolutely nuts when they scored. So congratulations. Absolutely. All right, let's move on to tennis. We did talk about it briefly in the Olympics. This is a totally separate achievement, is Sebastian Korda.
Yeah.
Creating a little bit of tennis history with his latest win. He's the first father-son to win the same tournament and rank inside the top 20 in the world. That's a
little bit of history. Yeah.
And
positive history.
And the daughter plays golf at a very, very high level. So they love their sport, the Kordas.
Yep. And, as we've got, Djokovic completes the trophy cabinet.
He does. Yep. Now, Andy Murray, obviously, with tennis there, announcing his retirement at the end of the Olympics, kept his game alive for a couple of close doubles games. But
battled his heart out where the body was gone.
Exactly right. All right, let's move on to a couple of fast finishing questions, mate. The Saka coaching job. Any decisions coming? Seems like it's dragging on.
Seems like Marcel Marceau too, that it is. And look, my understanding was that interviews were done a month or so ago, so I don't get it. Yeah, it's really weird.
Why are they holding off on announcing a decision?
Yeah, I don't. Or they're waiting for another applicant. You know, who knows?
Maybe someone's come out of left field that might be available. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
All right. Who was the most players dismissed on a duck? Wazzy Macran, Glenn McGrath, Matthias Muthaluran, and Anderson.
Well, purely because you've got Akram name listed there, which is weird because he could seriously bat. You know, made a fantastic Test century here at Adelaide Oval. I'll go Jimmy Anderson, but with no confidence.
Wazzy Macran.
Yeah, purely because his name was there.
Yep.
I did think that.
Yep. 189 times in his career he got dismissed for a duck.
Purely, if I'd had to there on a money thing, I would have gone Akram because it made the most sense from the candidates,
Little bit of fun there to finish us off.
Fine.
AFLW's back in the news just a little bit coming up on the season. Both Port Adelaide and Adelaide have named new captains for the year. This was announced from Port Adelaide a couple of weeks ago that Janelle Cuthbertson has got the job taking over from Erin Phillips in her retirement.
Yeah, and look, all the best there to Janelle. Big shoes to follow on from.
And the crosstown rivals in Adelaide, they're naming dual captains this year with Ebony Marinoff and Sarah Allen.
Yeah, I'm a big Sarah Allen fan, having done a few coaches. She's quiet, but there's
is it a case of
standards.
Is it a case of she's going to be quiet, but when she speaks, everyone's going to listen?
I would say so.
Yeah.
And I'd say Ebony will speak a lot more, but I reckon
the
Sarah
yin and
yin and yang.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Talking about AFLW, the Port Adelaide and Adelaide teams are heading up to Port Augusta for a little bit of an internal trial or a sim pre-season game, but they face each other in a couple of weeks' time in the real deal round one, and Port Adelaide are going to get to wear the prison bar Guernsey. All right, let's finish off very, very quickly. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Oh, look, you've got a list here. Tom Emmett, look, it's a controversial decision because one umpire paid holding the ball. I do think it was a sling tackle. And I'm a Tom Emmett fan. Coached him in Sapsaza.
Yep.
But for mine, it's, again, people out there go, oh, it's a perfect tackle. No, it's not. Litigation happening, and also the effects of concussion.
Yep.
The Danny Frawley, etc. there with the link there and all that. We do have to come down hard on it. And when you've got lawyers out there actively hunting play, the game's changing. Whether we like it or not, it's irrelevant.
Yep.
Game changes or it dies.
Yep. All right, mate, we might finish it up on that one. Congratulations to the Thunderbirds winning back-to-back. That's my good for the week. My bad is probably that decision as like you, that one umpire's called holding the ball, one's called sling tackle. Unfortunately, the game is going to change, and it's going to change, obviously, for the safety and betterment of players. Exactly right. All right, mate, as per usual, it's been a huge episode. I thank you. I thank Chris Thedgold and Darryl Wakelin, who are coming up, obviously, in the next few episodes. Keep an eye out on that. If you haven't done anything yet, sign up to our Facebook channel, YouTube channel, any social media that you've got, and obviously like, rate, and subscribe. Thank you, mate, and we'll see you next week.
And any more potential sponsors, thank you, and you get on board. Have a prang. Contact Roger Steen.
Need a house?
Yes.
Need a house
Buying
sold?
or selling? Gary Creeds is the man.
Absolutely. All right, mate. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
In this crazy world we live in, we all need the distraction. Enjoying the show? Like, rate, and subscribe. Hook up and connect with us on social media at SportsCast SA. We'll see you next time on Game On.